She was really hot, okay? Like, I was into her. Anyway, we're gonna move on before I discover something I didn't know before. Recently, I posted a video where I ranked fanfiction tropes just based on a tier that already existed, and to my surprise, a lot of people were really into it. So I thought, because there were so many kinky and perverted comments, and because of who I am as a person, it might be fun to do part 2, this time with tropes that were submitted by my subscribers. One of the things that inspired me to do a follow-up video was this person on Twitter, JSM, who tweeted me saying, when the video started with Read with Cindy looking up ABO, I knew this was going to be a good one. Now I can't stop thinking about her reactions to nodding to and heats and ruts. And I said, what's nodding? Okay, so only alphas have knots, which are based on the bulb-like gland many canines have at the base of their penis. Nodding is when the knot swells during intercourse so their semen stay inside longer for pregnancy. I'm so sorry, I can't believe I just said this to you. To which I said, oh. And then I thought, I need to do a follow-up video to this. But obviously, we can't make the entire video about nodding. Or can we? No, we shouldn't. Well, no, we shouldn't. So I did a community post on YouTube asking you to submit a bunch of tropes. I have boiled it down to just like the top few that stood out to me. I have created my own tier list template. All of these tropes were pulled directly from your comments. We are gonna have pretty much the same ranking style as the last video. The top tier is love it with heart eyes. The second tier is like it, still in the heart eyes category. The third tier is sure. The difference here is that in the last video, I had a shrugging emoji, and in this video, I just have the tongue out emoji because I want it to have a different implication when I rank something in sure. Like, I want to make it clear that if I put it in the middle category, it doesn't mean I don't like it. It actually means I'm down to clown. Second to last here is depends on execution. And then the last one is not my thing. I don't believe in kink shaming. I just believe that there are things that are my thing and not my thing. Believe it or not, sometimes people don't like the same things that you like, and that's okay. We are all different and unique in our own special ways, including our kinks. We're gonna start out addressing the elephant in the room, or shall I say, the furry in the room. Apparently there's many subtropes to it. So I actually decided to split the different subtropes of ABO into different little categories. The original definition that I saw was that ABO is alpha, beta, omega. It classifies these people into these different systems, kind of similar to how wolves are, and it emphasizes on humans having animalistic instincts. And I ranked it originally as like it. Apparently there was so much more. Let's get into it. Since you liked ABO, how about some of the tropes that go along with it? Nodding, mating cycles, and heat. Also nesting if you want to go for fluff. I still don't quite understand what exactly it is, so I'm gonna go ahead and refer back to Urban Dictionary to explain further. Nodding is when the penis enlarges during climax and remains enlarged to the point where he is literally stuck inside the female for as long as the mating process goes on. This happens to ensure insemination, and the male can ejaculate several times before he shrinks down small enough to unmount. This is used as a kink of sorts in hybrid/ABO fanfiction. Technically speaking, I am not opposed to the functionality of nodding. Maybe just doing it normally gets boring after a while, so you can kind of spice it up by your little John becoming a balloon or something. Wait, is that how it works? I'm gonna go ahead and click on images. I'm scared. Oh, it's actual knots. I don't think that's what they meant. What if I did nodding ABO? But I'm not actually seeing like the mechanics of how it works, so I'm not quite sure. Oh, I'm not quite sure. Damn, I'm freaking good. Because it seems like the primary function of nodding is to ensure pregnancy, I'm gonna have to put it in not my thing. I'm not into pregnancy at all, whether you're a man or a woman or non-binary or whatever. That's the deal breaker for me. I don't like babies. That's really it. Like, I'm fine with you being kinky, I just don't like babies. The comment also referenced heat. Heat fic is when a character feels an urge to have sex for biological reasons outside of their control. In other words, they go into heat. This may be because they are part cat, a werewolf, a were-animal, or an alpha or omega. Sex during this time may lead to pregnancy, even in males. I feel like the male pregnancy is really gonna be the boner killer for me. But since I have another trope separated for male pregnancy, I'm gonna go ahead and put heat in Ooh, do I put in like it or sure? I like any excuse to bang. I'm gonna go ahead and put in like it. A nest is usually a place where an omega can be comfortable, whether if he is in heat or just having a bad day. It can be a closet or a couch, a small room, or a bed. It will usually be filled with soft things, the most smelling like his or her mate if they have one. Aw, I think that's cute. I support furries being as comfortable as possible. So I'm gonna put that in like it. And you know what? I'm gonna put nodding in sure because we're just gonna ignore the male pregnancy part because that's gonna be the next trope, which is not my thing. Again, I don't like babies. That's the deal breaker for me. Now let's move on to all the other questionable things that you submitted to me. India Rodriguez says, 50 guys and 1 girl living in the same house. 50 guys and 1 girl in a house just sounds like a fire hazard. How would that even work logistically? What kind of landlord would approve of that many tenants in a house? How big is this house in general? I'm sure the rent is like amazing. Maybe you're paying like a few dollars every month, but is it worth it? I don't think so. Imagine doing the dishes. Imagine doing the chores. There would be 10 different refrigerators just to fit everyone's food. I'm having nightmares just from imagining how this would work logistically. Therefore, it is not my thing. Accidental baby acquisition. The fanworks main pairing accidentally acquires a baby and they have to take care of the child together. I'm gonna put that in like it because I think it's cute. Now, this might seem contradictory because earlier I said that I don't like babies, but I'm viewing accidental baby acquisition as like a fun little episode where they find like a random baby and they have to take care of that baby throughout the episode. I think that's cute because it's less about the baby and more so showing how this couple can work well together as hypothetical parents. Maybe they find the real mom at the end of the episode and they help give the baby away, but then they walk away from that experience finding out, wow, they would actually be a good couple. And that's really fluffy and cute. The emotionally immature / unstable AI. I think I'll put that in love it, only because I really enjoy this one book series, Defy the Stars by Claudia Gray. The main girl meets an AI who is so advanced that he begins to develop actual human feelings for her. I'm into that. Also, I would prefer AI men over actual men. Hello, Mystic Messenger. Animal falls in love with human, becomes a human, tries to get humans to fall in love with them. We get into some dicey territory over here. I know that half of your submissions were just there to see if I was a furry or not, and this is not gonna do me any favors. I think it's cute, okay? I'm gonna put in love it. Listen, they're human now. So it's okay. Like for example, dogs are so cute and so loyal and so handsome. If I could marry a dog, I would. I want a cute little dog boyfriend to take care of me. I don't mean this in any kinky way at all, okay? So don't get it twisted. I'm just saying it can be very cute and fluffy and wholesome. Bondage. That's it. That's the comment. I have low pain tolerance. I just want to be as comfortable as possible. So I don't really see the use of having all those extra props and chains. Like I would think if my hands were tied up, I would just be thinking about my blood flow throughout my arms and how my arms are going to feel numb afterward and it's just going to be like uncomfortable. Unfortunately, not my thing. I'm too vanilla for it. I just want to be comfortable. I'm a pillow princess. I'm also not interested in doing that to other people. It just seems like a bunch of trouble and I'm just too lazy for that. Billionaire or famous person who's secretly very kinky or very mysterious, powerful being as a love interest with a naive, homey, but gorgeous girl who let out a breath she didn't know she was holding. Isn't that just 50 Shades of Grey? The description was very specific, but at the same time, it didn't clarify what personality the CEO has. So for that reason, I'm gonna put it in depends on execution. Normally with this trope, the billionaire CEO tends to be portrayed as a very cold and standoffish and aloof man. He gets caught up in this naive girl who like changes him or whatever. I am not into that. However, if the billionaire CEO had the opposite kind of personality where they were very warm and inviting and they did charity work, they run like a very ethically conscious company and fosters a healthy company culture, and maybe if they fall for the naive girl, they will be responsible enough to give her a reference to work somewhere else instead. That's probably not what this comment is actually talking about, but that's how I'm gonna put it in my head. The bodyguard and the character they're protecting secretly fall in love. I love that shit. If you saw my other video, you would see that I'm very particular with the gender roles of the different relationship dynamics. So for example, if it's a straight relationship, I prefer the men to be more emotionally vulnerable. But the bodyguard trope works no matter what kind of relationship it is. The guy can be the bodyguard, the girl can be the one being protected. I still love it. Swap the genders, the girl's the bodyguard instead. I love it still. The bodyguard and the other person are both the same sex. I still love it. It has the range. And the reason why is because the innate nature of bodyguard is someone who has to protect you and is loyal to you and would do anything for you and would sacrifice their life for you. And that's a quality that I really like when I read a relationship, because that kind of devotion is what I want in my own life. Anyway, we're not gonna get into that. Bodyguards are not really allowed to be romantically with that person that they're protecting, because that's a conflict of interest. Usually the person they're protecting is of a higher status or a higher rank. It's this dynamic where it's like, wow, this bodyguard is so protective and so dedicated to their job, but really they just care very romantically and deeply for this character. So I just like all these layers here. Bully romance. Bully romance is a more extreme spin on the enemies to lovers tropes. It comes in varying levels of dark and contains a lot of triggers for people, particularly if they have been bullied in the past. The hero bullied the heroine in the story, and it can be taken to extremes. Definitely not my thing. If someone is treating you awful, I don't want to be in a relationship with them. And I don't want you to be in a relationship with them, because I want you to be with someone who respects you and who is nice to you and treats you well. Maybe that's just me though. Basically, I want a simp. Butt plugs, ... That's it. That's the trope. They are the thing that you put up your butt. Unfortunately, I'm gonna be vanilla again and put it in not my thing. It would just make me very physically uncomfortable. I feel like my asshole would just clench around the plug, and I'm not like into that. I don't want to go anywhere near the butthole. That's where poo-poo comes out of. That's very risky territory, and I don't want to go there. One unusual kink I have been introduced to recently is cardiophilia. Cardiophiles are people who are in love with hearts. They enjoy and are aroused by the sight, sound, and or feeling of the heart/heartbeat. I'm actually going to put it under sure. I can kind of see like the intimacy of hearing another person's heartbeat, or just hearing how fast that their heart is beating for you, or being close enough to even hear their heartbeat. I could be down for that. All I would have to do is just run like 2 blocks down my neighborhood, and then my heart is already pounding super fast from my lack of exercise, and then that'll get them going. Daddy/mommy issues. This is when you are attracted to another person because you are projecting some kind of issues that you have with your father or your mother. I'm gonna put that in not my thing. I just think if you were going through that, you should seek therapy instead of a love interest. Doctor or nurse and injured. I am gonna put that in like it, assuming it's consensual. It ties into the whole protective nature that I like in relationships. Doctors make a lot of money. Not only would he take care of me romantically, he could take care of me financially too. And that's just a win-win. Super wholesome domestic fluff. Basically just the characters being around the house together and being super cute. I'm gonna put that in love it, because I am a simple bitch. The appeal of this to me is characters who have gone through a really, really difficult life, and now they can finally enjoy something so simple as cooking together, or living together, or making the bed, or just something simple and dumb like that. That's why I like romance in historical fiction and fantasy fiction, because that's usually where shit goes down, like people nearly die. When you go through so many terrible things in your life and you lose so many things, it's nice to be able to appreciate those simpler things in comparison. I got a lot of comments for Flower Shop and Tattoo Artist AU, which is basically when one character is the owner of a flower shop and then the other character is the owner of a tattoo shop. I didn't know that this was such a prevalent thing in fanfiction, but I love it. I haven't read it, but I just love the idea of it. And it works so well no matter how you switch it up. You could have the girl be the flower shop owner and the guy be the tattoo shop artist. Typical good girl, bad boy dynamic. You can switch it up where the girl's a tattoo shop owner and the guy's a flower shop owner. That's still super cute. You could have both of them be the same sex. That's still awesome. It has the range. I have a tattoo of someone holding flowers, so how can I not be into that? Serena White says, everyone has a foot-long dick. Isn't that just a Court of Thorns and Roses? The most entertaining aspect of the ACOTAR series was just the fact that everyone has big dicks. For that reason, I want to put it in sure. I just think it would be funny to see how that would work. When they turn around, do they accidentally knock things over with their massive schlong? Or do they have to like haul it over their shoulder like a backpack? Honestly, a story could be really boring, but then if you gave the guy a foot-long dick, then it suddenly becomes interesting. Grumpy/sunshine trope, where one person is super grumpy, sarcastic, and tough, and the other is a happy little cinnamon roll. I am going to put that under love it. I like that kind of dynamic. It has the range where I don't care what gender each person is. It would still be cute regardless. I got a lot of comments about hanahaki, a person who has a crush or is in unrequited love, throws up flowers until the flowers blossom and root in their lungs until they die. Unless the crush loves them back, the inflicted character falls in love with someone else, or a magical surgery happens where the character removes the flowers and with it all emotions in general, or all emotions for the crush. Sometimes the flowers will represent the stage in life, like how daffodils can mean new beginnings or selfishness, so the plot will reflect that, or it will be the new favorite flowers of the crush. I think there's something interesting about that. First of all, it's angsty, but it's like angsty in almost a poetic and beautiful kind of way. Just the idea of having flowers or blossoms bloom in your lungs to the point where you suffocate because you love this person who doesn't love you back is so tragically beautiful in a way that I'm into it. So I'm gonna put that under sure. Healthy relationship with good communication and consent. What? What is that? By now, you should know that I am a boring vanilla bitch, so I'm gonna put that in love it. That's pretty much the requirement for me. Your boyfriend is your brother, but he's not actually your brother. Cassandra Clare who? Basically fake incest. We get in some real dicey territory over here. I grew up reading a lot of shoujo manga. For some reason, a very common trope in shoujo manga is the characters finding out that they're related or their parents got married, so now they're step-siblings. I could be reading a story that's totally normal, and then I find out later that they're related. And I'm like, what the fuck? I already got invested in this shit. At this point, I feel desensitized to it. But I feel like it would depend on execution, which is where I'm gonna put it at. If you grew up with that person, that feels too much like brother and sister for me, or sister and sister or whatever. But I have seen stories where they didn't grow up together. They met later in life. They didn't know that they were siblings until they already invested their feelings for each other. Now it's really freaking awkward. In that case, I find it understandable. Like, it's a very shitty situation. Also, I have to put it in depends on execution because I don't want it to be like predatory. Like, I don't want them to be like, I know you're my sibling, but I still want to bang you anyway. That's some weird power dynamics I'm not into. But if it was more like in the case of, oh shit, I like you, but now you're my sibling, now I'm fucked and I'm gonna go stew in angst and shame, then I kind of am more forgiving about that. One time I read a shoujo manga that was only 4 chapters in total. The first chapter, they were attracted to each other. We were having a good time. The second chapter, the main girl's mom told her that they were siblings. And I was like, what the fuck? Not another accidental incest story. And then when the 4th chapter revealed that they weren't actually related, I was like, why did you make me go through that roller coaster? Killer to Lover, where the main character dies and learns as a ghost how to love his or her murderer. I'm gonna put it in not my thing, simply because if someone tried to murder me, actually if someone succeeded in murdering me, that would kind of be a deal breaker for me. If you stab me and I die from it, I don't see how this relationship can work out, logistically speaking. Mafia AU, your favorite character is now a mafia boss ruling the city with an iron fist, but goes soft for the quirky weirdo that spilled juice on them. I am gonna put that under sure. I don't feel strongly about it either way. I could see myself liking it. I did like Six of Crows, which is kind of like the fantasy version of Mafia, but it could also be boring depending on how it gets executed. I think it's an interesting setting. I would be interested in learning more about it. Like Frankenstein, where there's a monstrous character who just wants to be accepted and loved, but society keeps violently rejecting them, except instead of a horror, it's a romance, and they fall in love with someone or someone falls in love with them. Ah, I see we have a monster fucker in the midst of my audience. And you know what? I stand with you, bitch. Let's go. Monsters are kind of like himbos in a way. Obviously, they look very intimidating on the outside, but they're softies on the inside, and I'm into that. Going to hell for putting this here, but omurashi. Omurashi is a form of fetish subculture originating and predominantly recognized in Japan, in which participants experience arousal from having a full bladder or wetting themselves, or from seeing someone else experiencing a full bladder or wetting themselves. You nasty bitch putting this in my comments and in my video. But you know what? This is not my kink, but I want to be open-minded about it. So I feel like it depends on execution. Okay, here's the thing. Actually, I don't know how to justify this. If I was with someone and I really loved them and I found out that they were into like this pee-pee kink and all I had to do was pee for them to turn them on, I mean, I'm open-minded to it. I'll do it. I'm not gonna enjoy it, but like, if they like it, then that's okay. Oh, actually, but when I think about the logistics of it, it just sounds so complicated because if you wet yourself, then you're gonna have to change your clothes. You're gonna have to clean up the mess that you left behind. I feel like it's super inconvenient. But I don't know, man. Sometimes desperate times call for desperate measures. The oops, I just tripped, but I fell fetchingly into your arms. Every single romance has this, where the characters fall on each other and have this dramatic staring moment as if a normal person would immediately write themselves up. I know exactly what you're talking about because this is so common in Asian dramas and shoujo manga where the girl accidentally falls into the guy's arms because she's so clumsy. I'm gonna put that in not my thing. I just get secondhand embarrassment from that. And also, like, why are you tripping out of nowhere? There's no rocks on the ground. The ground was flat in the first place. How did you even trip? I don't know. Just pick yourself up and get your shit together, okay? Pining for someone who's already in a relationship. No cheating though. Thank God you wrote down no cheating because now I can put it in love it. I think there is something juicy about pining for someone, but it's unrequited. Another good example is Sailor Moon and one of the Sailor Starfighters. So in the last season of Sailor Moon, which never aired in the US, it only aired in Japan and a few other countries, Tuxedo Mask got wiped out of the picture for a temporary moment just so that they could introduce 3 new Sailor Scouts. One of them was this girl named Seiya, and she ends up falling for Sailor Moon, but she is really angsty about it because Sailor Moon is still really in love with Tuxedo Mask. And I was so into it. That was like the main reason why I watched through that last season. Honestly, if I were Sailor Moon, I would have jumped over to the other side. Tuxedo Mask is a vanilla ass bitch. I'm sorry to say. She pined so hard for Sailor Moon and I was so into it. I was like, damn, if Sailor Moon doesn't go for her, I will. She was really hot, okay? Like, I was into her. Anyway, we're gonna move on before I discover something I didn't know before. Sold to One Direction or Big Time Rush. I'm gonna put that in not my thing because I don't support human trafficking. If your parents give you up to One Direction or Justin Bieber or whatever boy band or boy musician is out there, I would be more concerned about calling CPS. What kind of parent gives up their child to a boy band? Also, what kind of boy band accepts girls as their property? That's super sketch. I'm not into that. We need to call CPS. We need to call, not the police, because fuck the police. We need to call social service workers to deal with this, because that is not okay. I do not support trafficking. Student-teacher romance, not my thing. I have never been attracted to anyone who has an authority position over me. That's like a boner killer for me because I don't want anybody to tell me what to do. Also, I hate school, so I just want to deal with that. I got a lot of different suggestions for this one comment, but I am gonna choose one just for the sake of time, and that's gonna be tentacles because another person was like, let's get this one to the top. We need to see Cindy react to tentacles. Why would I put my vagina next to something that is slimy and smells like fish? Isn't that just redundant? Renardroy says, wump. LMAO, don't at me, I love to suffer. It is a fandom term to describe physical and or mental abuse laid on a character in a story. Why? Why would I want that? I need to look further into this because I realize that I'm a hypocrite because my novel that I'm working on is basically mental and physical abuse the whole time. Those who like wump like those moments of vulnerability. So it's kind of like hurt comfort, right? You know what? I'll put it in depends on execution because if it leads to hurt comfort, then I'm okay with that. I just don't like torture porn if that's what it's about, but I'm assuming that's not the case. I will say though that my story is basically a bunch of hurting. Is there comfort? I guess not really. But just because I can write it doesn't mean I want to read it. Wing fic. Your favorite character now has wings. What if my favorite character was Rhysand? What if my favorite character already had a foot-long dick and wings? Sadly, I think Alcatar has ruined this for me, so I'm gonna put it in not my thing. Even if there were other characters that I like that had wings, it doesn't really add anything. Like, it doesn't really make a difference to me whether they have wings or not, so it doesn't affect me whatsoever. So it's not like I'm turned off by it, it's more like I'm just very apathetic towards it, which is similar to the last trope, sexy vampire falls in love with a human who happens to be special. I am also gonna put that in not my thing. I was never really into vampires. I don't know why. Maybe I just don't like pale guys. I have a low pain tolerance, so I don't want anybody to be biting my neck, drawing my blood. That just seems like it would get messy and it would get kind of like annoying to have all these holes in my neck and to have to patch it up every time. It's just inconvenient. I am now done ranking your submitted tropes / kinks. If you would like to make your own tier ranking, I will have the link in my description below. Another thing I'll have linked in my description below is the discount code for NordVPN, which is a sponsor of this video. They have double data encryption so that you can be extra anonymous. That way, when you look up questionable stuff on the internet, your identity is hidden and your data is not logged at all, so advertisers don't see the weird kinky shit that you look up. They have super fast servers. There are over 5,500 in 60 countries. There's up to 6 simultaneous connections. There is 24/7 customer service. It protects data while you're traveling in public too, so even if you went to an airport or to a coffee shop, you'll still be able to protect your data when you look up naughty stuff. And because you can disguise your IP address and hop around in different countries, that means you can also access different sites that are only available in specific countries, like Netflix with specific shows and movies or other entertainment sites. If you're interested, you can get 70% off NordVPN, which is $3.49 a month, plus an additional month for free if you go to my link, nordvpn.com/readwithcindy, and use my code readwithcindy. Unsubscribe from my channel and subscribe to NordVPN instead. Goodbye.
How am I supposed to be myself? I'm always taking notes from someone